For those of you who've watched the channel for any amount of time, you know I'm a huge fan of Kassai and Blitz, and I also know that I'm not alone in that. Many players have wanted an adult Kassai for a while, but as we've chatted about on here, if she moved over in her current form, she'd probably be a little too good in Classic Constructed. So today I'm going to propose what she could look like as an adult hero, and explain why my version could really work. A huge shout out to our channel members for supporting what we do here. If you want to get involved with the channel and the Dice Commando community, please consider joining as a channel member. Remember, these videos are only possible with your support. You can show that support with a like, a subscribe, and by leaving us a comment and sharing your feedback. Community first, and go Commando. Hey there, Flesh and Blood folks. Welcome back to Dice Commando and Go Again, a fabulous cast. Andrew with you here as always, and thanks for checking in for the continuation of our fun little theory chat series here on the channel. Just a couple of short videos exploring some side stuff in Flesh and Blood, and really just having some fun with it. And today I want to talk about one of my favorite heroes to play, which is Kassai. Now, we've talked about for a long time what would, and not just we, right? The community on the whole, we've talked about what would Kassai as an adult look like and see adult Kassai win, and so on and so on. Right now, we've talked about this before, where if she, in her current form with her current ability, were to port over to Classic Constructed, she'd probably be a little too good. And as such, I think that what it should look like is this that I'm putting up right now. So this is Kassai Redeemed. Now, everything's the same except instead of your second sword attack being free, your second sword attack each turn gains +1. Now you're like, but that's way worse. Well, yes it is. Yes, it is. And you're like, but that also, Andrew, that looks a lot like an Ira. And you've also said on here that if Ira were a CC hero, she'd probably be too good. Those two don't make sense. And good for you for paying attention, but it's different, right? Ira gives it to any attack, so you can apply it to things like a Command and Conquer with an on-hit, making it a 2/7, or a 1/5 becomes a 1/6. It's actually not too bad. A 1/5 becoming a 1/6 is still a 2-block, but you understand where I'm going with this, right? And I mean, Ira would not work with the difference, okay? So, but this, on the other hand, because it's limited to sword attack, and that's what you're trying to do with Warrior anyway, I do think this one is a big difference. Now, let's talk about why Kassai, in her current form, with being, saving you the resource, lets you do two things, right? One, it lets you play with more reds and yellows, which, if you think about going from a blue to a yellow, what does that generally get you? It gets you +1 attack, right? If you're going from, that's just the way it works in most of these cards. Or you get some sort of incremental effect from going from a blue to a yellow, or you give that back by getting the higher resource. Either way you want to look at it, right? Now, that one resource at its very core level, like if you look at like a Brave Forge Bracers, that one resource can convert into one attack at a minimum. Okay, so what I'm giving here is that minimum. But that one resource opens up a lot more for you again, on the original version. That one resource opens up the ability to do an Out for the Blood, a Puncture, or whatever it may be in terms of the react. So your ceiling is way higher. And I think that's where she becomes a little too good in something like, I think it's appropriate in Blitz with kind of the power level in Blitz and the speed you need to move. I do think it's appropriate. I think she's fine. Her with Dynamos is maybe a little too good, let's be honest. But remember, she'll have Dynamos too in this case. So we can remove Dynamos from the discussion. But being able to just do the one cost to react. Because again, very few people are running just red yellows with her. You're still running your blues, and you're still trying to pitch a blue and use 3 resources. And again, that resource opens up a lot more for you than if she were to simply have to do what Dorinthea has to do, right? Which is pay 1 for a stab, pay 1 for a go again, pay 1 for a stab, and then somehow figure out how you're going to do your reacts. I think that's more fair, or maybe it's not more fair or not, but it's at least in line more with what LSS has decided the Warriors need to do in Classic Constructed. And I think that's a fair statement, right? They've set the bar as to what they want it to be, what Warriors to be in CC, which is paying for your, right, swing, pay to go again, swing, or hit and run, right? Use the card to do it, right? Because usually if you're like a Warrior's Valor or something like that, it's giving you a buff plus the on hit, right, for the go again or something like that, right? So you see where I'm going with that, right? But now if we're looking at, again, that free resource, being able to open up to do your 1/3s instead of counting on a 0 Iron Song response, there's a big difference there, right? So what I'm trying to do with Kassai here is keep fundamentally everything the same. She can still do her Blood on the Hands build, right, which effectively gives her on hits, which is what, again, we've talked about it before on here. What makes her so good is that she does, in her own little way, have on hits, which is something warriors don't have a lot of, which is why warriors aren't doing as great, in my opinion. And then it's converting that into, it's basically giving you the free resource, but the free resource as intended on curve in terms of either being able to run red yellows or pitched bracers or right, whatever else it may be. Okay. So anyway, that's my take. I think that this would be, it might be kind of fun to run, like if you're playing kitchen table or something like that, you could actually just run it. I know people have tried actually running Adult Kassai, just like for fun, right? Just a kitchen table to run Adult Kassai in her current form. I've heard that she's pretty good, but again, you're playing kitchen table FAP and not like you're not letting the competitive kids do their thing. But I think from a fairness standpoint, this one seems to be a lot more manageable and a lot more within kind of the baseline curve. So anyway, let me know your thoughts. Let me know what you're thinking. If nothing else, folks, go Commando.